This episode will focus on one of the tips that I have for you to prepare yourself well for Ramadan, which is learn about the ruling of Siyam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This episode will focus on one of the tips that I have for you to prepare yourself well for Ramadan, which is learn about the ruling of Siyam. Learn about the rules that is related to the month of Ramadan. A Siyam, like any other fast, other act of worship that we have. Month of Ramadan, like any other month or time where there's an act of worship prescribed upon us, we need to learn the rules related to it. That's why it is important for us to learn about the month of Ramadan before the month of Ramadan comes. So it's important for you to know about the fasting, how the Prophet ﷺ did his fast, what the quality of his fasting ﷺ, him and his companions. You need to know about the rules of fasting, what is allowed and what's not allowed. What are the obligations of fasting and what are the things that invalidate your fast. At least the basics. Maybe you can read a book, or maybe you can listen to a lecture, or maybe you can attend a course, or maybe you can listen to a series of lectures about the rules of Ramadan and the ahkam of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us these days with the internet, with a lot of tools and ways where we have access to knowledge that many people didn't have access to it before. The only thing that make sure that you consult someone that you trust, have knowledge before you listen, because you want to take the knowledge from the right source. You need to learn about al-qiyam, about the Taraweeh prayers, the rules of i'tikaf if you're making i'tikaf. All these are serious things. Like, for example, the sisters need to know when she's allowed to start the fasting and when is not allowed to fast, especially in areas, for example, related to menstruation. There is also things to learn about what are the ibadat, the act of worship that you can do in Ramadan. Knowing about the virtue of Ramadan. We might know one or two, but there is plenty of other things about Ramadan. Many of us don't know, maybe never heard of it before. That will inspire you, encourage you. So the knowledge about Ramadan is vast, and it is very interesting. And there's a lot of areas it can be explored into regarding to the month of Ramadan, especially when a lot of Muslims also have concerns and questions related to their deen about Siyam and Salah and masjids and i'tikaf in the light of this pandemic and what's going on in the world today. Many people give zakat. Ya akhi, learn about zakat. It is good for us to go one step higher than just asking. Asking is good, and we're expecting people to ask, but ask and start to learn at least the basics. I know the society is made of three: scholars, student of knowledge, and the average Muslim who doesn't know the rules, the layman person, as we call. But our goal as Muslims, that we always try to go from level 3 to level 2. That muta'allim ala sabil al-najat, that we learn our deen, to be connected with the Quran and Sunnah. And learning the deen is going to come by what? By you seeking the knowledge. As the Nabi ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا الْعِلْمُ بِالتَّعَلُّمِ. Knowledge is acquired through learning. Qais ibn Kathir said, a man came to Abu Darda while Abu Darda in Damascus to meet Abu Darda. Abu Darda is a companion. So Abu Darda said, my brother, why did you came all the way to here? It looks, he asked him, where are you from? He said, from whatever country which is far away. He said, you came all the way here for what? He said, because I heard that you narrate a specific hadith about the Prophet ﷺ, and I want to take it directly from you. I want to learn from you what the Prophet ﷺ said. He said, that's it? He said, that's it. You're not here to visit someone? No. Business? No. I only came في طلب هذا الحديث. I only came here to learn or to hear this hadith from you. That before he told him what the hadith that he was looking for, he said, listen, I heard the Prophet ﷺ said, من سلك طريقا يبتغي فيه علما سلك الله به طريقا للجنة. Anyone take a path to seek knowledge, Allah will give him an access, an easy path to Jannah. And Shaykh Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said, even this can apply to you searching and listening and finding. At that time they have the, the tape, the cassette tapes. I say today, even today, when you search online and you do that, put that effort, if it's a little, inshallah, that will give you an access to Jannah. Go to the masjid to attend the halqa, to attend the class if it is possible. Inna al-malaika, the angels, will lower their wings for the one who's seeking knowledge because they are pleased with what this person doing. And the alim, everything, making istighfar, asking forgiveness for the person of knowledge in the heavens and in the earth, even the fish in the water. And the example of the alim, the scholars, and the worshipper who have no knowledge, like the difference between them, like the difference between the shining moon, when it's in full moon, you see it's beautiful, shining, and a star that, a dark star that you can't see in the sky, or a star that is far away, barely you can see the reflection of the light or the light of it, while the moon reflects the light very well. Then the Nabi said that the Prophet said, and al-ulama, the scholars, are the inheritors of the prophets. The prophets left behind them knowledge. The more you take from it, the more of the inheritance of the prophets you gain. So I'm asking you, inviting you, offering you the opportunity to take from the inheritance of the prophets. Take from it according to what you can, even if it's one hadith to read, even if it's the virtue of the siyam that you read from Riyadh al-Salihin, a little bit of explanation for it. Many people didn't know that not knowing the rules make sometimes people fall into things that will reduce the ajr of their fasting, or they miss opportunities, or they make things so difficult upon themselves while the Sharia make it easy, or they make things wrong and it will not be valid. So learning about the rules is important before we start the ibadah, and it will make you enjoy Ramadan more. For instance, one of the things that you can learn, a little bit of tafsir. You read Quran every year in Ramadan. So knowledge is not only about fasting, but also about things that happen in Ramadan. And instead of you getting so angry and about those who pray 11 rak'ah or 20 rak'ah, just read and you will find this khilaf is very well respected between the scholars, and everybody there have their opinions about it. Before you get so angry and say, why did he make qunut, or he didn't make qunut out loud or secret, or before ruku' and after ruku', read and you will see, listen to what the ulama said, and you will understand that these are all valid opinions and based on evidence from the Quran and Sunnah. And you will find other things people might practice are not based on Quran and Sunnah, and it should not be done. And you should avoid it. So ilm will give you that light to understand and to enjoy your Ramadan. You read Quran every year. Make sure this may be Ramadan, you add to it, I'm going to read a little bit of tafsir, understand the meaning, and the story behind the verses, why it was revealed, asbab al-nuzul. If you don't know how to read, maybe you can learn how to read the Quran. Somebody help you how to read the Quran, and so forth. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make the month of Ramadan a month of knowledge and nur, light for us. And I tell you, the more you read about Ramadan before Ramadan, the more you read about the rules of Ramadan, the more you find yourself ready for the month of Ramadan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.